Yo, so Trevor Lawrence, so your Jaguars, they went up against the Ravens, and Trevor Lawrence couldn't bring out the dub. The turnovers were a problem per usual. Overthrowing. I actually placed a bet on Lamar Jackson scoring 200, getting 200 yards, and I just needed your guy Trevor Lawrence to lead a drive to make him have to pass it, and he couldn't do it. He just couldn't do it.
Or maybe a lot of the blame Lamar to have 200 yards. I mean, he had plenty of possessions. Maybe Lamar should have just thrown for more yards. But go ahead.
Jags making a game, either or. Yeah, a lot of the blame falls on Trevor Lawrence, per usual, who is terrible with his fourth quarter turnovers. Do you think that there's a chance that Trevor Lawrence is just Josh Allen with good hair?
Okay, so listen, I actually think that's kind of unfair to both of them. I think it's unfair to Josh in that Trevor hasn't shown the A-plus level sustained moments that Josh has had. And I think it's unfair to Trevor in that Trevor has not been a head-scratching turnover machine over the last couple years. Now, he played a very poor game on Sunday night. The fumble was ludicrous. He's just running and drops the ball. And even worse than the fumble was the end of the first half. The end of the first half when they don't get points. When it's fine if you're not going to spike the ball, but you got to throw it into the end zone. Now, what is true is Trevor was 8-3 and the Jags were 8-3 and Trevor was rolling. And they were scoring 30 plus on Cincinnati. And then he got the high ankle sprain, and since then he hasn't been quite as good. Now, that doesn't excuse the fumble or the mental mistake at the end of the first half, but I think that the Jags have to be careful now that Trevor's in concussion protocol, because if he misses this week and they play Baker, they could lose, and all of a sudden they probably won't be in first place in the division, with Indy and Houston tied with them. Now, luckily for the Jags, they have the Panthers and the Titans as their next two. And so even if they don't win the division, they can get to 10-7 relatively easily. And that's, again, where people are all high on the Bills. The Bills lost head-to-head to Jacksonville. That's a tiebreaker that could come into play. They lost head-to-head to Cincinnati. That's a tiebreaker that could come into play. I don't think Denver's going to get to 10 wins, but they lost head-to-head to Denver. That's a tiebreaker that could come into play. Like, those tiebreakers, the Bills' path is going to be they've got to win that division. The Bills' path is going to be that they need Miami to lose to either Dallas or Baltimore, and then to Buffalo at the end of the year. That's the Bills' path, and I don't know that they're going to get it. Now, to the Jags, here's the fact of the matter. Trevor overall this year has been disappointing compared to what I thought he would be. I thought he'd be an MVP candidate. He has not been. I thought the Jags would win 13 games. They have 6 losses already. And so it was looking good. Trevor was starting to play his best ball. They were 8-3. He was starting to play better. And then all of a sudden he gets hurt and they have some really bad losses. Loss to the Bengals, the loss to the Browns and Joe Flacco when Trevor throws 3 picks when I didn't think he should play. And then a game against the Ravens where I didn't think the Ravens defense played great. And the Jags missed field goal, give the ball away on a terrible fumble, don't get points for the half. They should have had 20 points at halftime, and they had 7. Or they had 0, actually. Pardon me. How many did they have at halftime?
No, I think they might have had 7 at that time.
No. It was 10-0 at halftime because they hit the long touchdown to Agnew at the start of the third quarter. But they could, They missed 2 field goals. They fumble the ball in the red zone. They don't get points for the half. All that's terrible. And so Trevor needs to be better. There's no denying that. Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button to get more from the show, and make sure to click the bell to get notified every time new content drops. Check out full episodes of What's Right wherever you get your podcasts, or just click the link in the description below.